Have you ever noticed how sometimes the biggest turmoil we face comes from within us? We live in a world that encourages talking, showing off, and being seen. But the greatest changes happen in silence. It's in that silence that we make important decisions. When we feel that something needs to end, that certain cycles have closed, and it's time to move forward, and no one else needs to know about it. There's no need to share or post on social media. Think of it this way. It's like tidying up the space where your essence resides. Door closed. No one watching. Just you and your desire to improve. In this calm environment, you start to let go of what pulls you down, what no longer fits in your life. Before we continue, I invite you to write in the comments, "Today, I begin to remove from my life what doesn't serve me." It may seem small, but it holds power. This simple act shows that you're serious about your decision to change. Let's go. Number 1, let go of the need to always be right. Some people get stuck in the mindset, I need to prove my point. Maybe you've acted this way, or you know someone who does. Always ready to argue, rebut, and show they're right. But deep down, it's just the ego trying to protect itself. Is it really worth it? Sometimes we engage in silly fights just to come out victorious, but then we go to bed with a heavy heart, ruminating over everything. Often it just reveals insecurities we don't want to face. The philosopher Epictetus said, "No one learns anything they think they already know." When you only want to be right, you close your ears and miss the chance to grow, to listen calmly, and to be humble. When you abandon this need without making a fuss, you feel a new peace. You start listening more, speaking with greater ease, and letting discussions slide. And this isn't weakness, it's maturity. It's the courage to choose tranquility over vanity. Remember, it's not about being silent all the time. It's knowing when it's worth speaking up and when it's better just to move on with a calm smile. True change is the kind that no one sees, but that you feel deep in your heart. Those at peace don't need to win against anyone. Those at peace simply live with more lightness. Number 2, stop comparing yourself to others. Only you live your life. Right from the moment you wake up, you grab your phone and see people working out before sunrise, traveling to amazing places, raking in piles of money. Everything looks beautiful, edited, and polished. Then you start to think, am I falling behind? But are you really behind? Or are you just paying too much attention to others? Comparing yourself is a silent form of self-harm. It eats away at you inside, making you forget to look at your own story. Seneca once said, "He who compares forgets to live his own life." When you measure yourself against the lives of others, you diminish yourself. You lose confidence. You forget that everyone has their own timeline. Your path is uniquely yours. You can admire someone, but if it makes you feel small, something's off. Each person lives in a different setting, facing different challenges. It's like 2 trees growing in different places, one in the sunlight, the other in the shade. Different growth rates, different times, and that's perfectly fine. So stop comparing yourself in silence. No need to disappear from social media. Just start paying more attention to yourself. When you feel the urge to compare, take a deep breath and turn inward. Focus on what you've been doing at your own pace and on what truly matters to you. This change is silent but powerful. You don't have to shout to change. You just need to start doing things differently, little by little. When you see someone achieving something, instead of feeling bad, ask yourself, what does this show me about what I desire for myself? Feeling envy is a sign that something within you is seeking attention. Use that feeling as a cue, not as poison. Instead of comparing yourself, try to understand what you might be missing and take action. Comparison silently robs your peace. It drains your energy, making you feel small without anyone noticing. And the worst part, you're comparing yourself to the part of others they choose to show. You don't see the struggles, fears, and losses they faced. That's why this change needs to be silent. No one will understand how much this hurts you inside, but you feel it, and only you can break this cycle. If you want to live with more lightness, start by accepting that you are a work in progress. Treat your life as someone who cares for a rare plant, with love, patience, and respect for the time it takes to grow. Every time you want to compare yourself, remember, the neighbor's grass may look greener, but you don't know what it went through to get there. Another important point, stop feeling the need to explain yourself all the time. How many times have you tried to justify your actions to appear nice or to avoid being misunderstood? We often seek acceptance, fearing what others may think. But how long will you live this way? Trying to justify yourself all the time signals that you're still trying too hard to please. It's the fear of rejection disguised as good intentions. Even if you explain everything perfectly, some people will understand whatever they want. They're more focused on their own judgments than on truly listening to you. The ancient philosophers taught that what you do speaks louder than what you say. Your actions reveal who you are. Your peace speaks volumes, more than any explanation could. So, stop wasting energy trying to explain yourself to everyone. If you act with honesty, that's what truly matters. Want an example? When you distance yourself from people who bring you down, you might feel the urge to send a long message explaining why. But what if you just distanced yourself in silence? No fights, no explanations. That's maturity. Those who truly know you will understand. And those who don't, that's okay. You don't need everyone's approval to walk your path. Number 4, stop seeking recognition all the time. Many people do things expecting praise, thanks, or likes. And when that doesn't come, they feel frustrated and invisible. But here's an important question. Are you doing this because you want to grow, or just to be noticed? It's natural to want to be seen, but the problem arises when you need that to feel good. Then your motivation becomes a dependency. You only feel you've done something good if someone applauds you. That's dangerous because it ties you to the opinions of others. The Stoics taught, do what is right and move on, not because someone will see it, but because it strengthens you from within. Imagine a gardener tending to a garden that no one visits. He waters, cares for, and cleans, not because he expects praise, but because he loves what he does. The beauty lies in the care, not in the recognition. You can live that way too, doing good for the sake of goodness, not for others' responses. You can work hard even without receiving compliments. You can love without expecting anything in return. That's freedom. The more you cling to the need for applause, the more fragile you become. And yes, it's nice to be recognized. But real growth happens when you do what needs to be done without needing to show off. When you grow in silence, your energy shifts, and sooner or later, those who truly matter will feel it. Stop comparing yourself. Stop justifying yourself all the time. Stop depending on others' recognition. These 3 attitudes, when practiced in silence, change everything. You don't need to make an announcement, just act differently. True transformation is silent. Nobody sees it, but you feel it. Bloom in your own time with calm and truth. A flower doesn't make noise to be noticed. It simply grows, and that is enough. Number 5, stop trying to control everything. You try to plan every detail, predict the future, and avoid any surprises. You live in fear of something going wrong. But the truth is, nobody controls life. You can do everything right, and still, something may go awry. That's not failure. It's just how life works. This need to have everything in your hands only creates more anxiety. In the end, while trying to find peace, you create tension. By trying to protect yourself, you become more sensitive. The ancient Stoics knew, we don't control events, only how we respond to them. You can't control the weather, other people's actions, or what has already happened. But you can decide how you'll react to all of it. You can take a deep breath instead of fighting. You can shift your focus instead of stressing. You can choose calm. Life is like the sea. You can't control the winds, but you can adjust the sails. When you let go of control, you learn to trust. You trust that you'll know how to handle things. You trust that, even if plans change, you'll adapt. And then, you live lighter. Often, the best things that happen to us weren't planned. They come at moments of chaos, doubt, and change. When you release the idea that everything must go your way, you make room for something new to enter. So the next time you feel fear, ask yourself, is this really in my hands? Or is it just my fear trying to take charge? Peace begins when you focus on what you can actually change, yourself. Number 6, stop wanting to give your opinion on everything. You see something on social media, hear something at work, and immediately feel that urge to comment. You want to say how you would do things differently, what you think is right, and what is wrong. But have you ever stopped to consider why you feel the need to speak up so much? Often, it's the ego wanting to show that it knows best. Other times, it's a craving for attention. Unbeknownst to you, you turn into a watchdog of other people's lives. How someone talks, dresses, raises their children, votes, loves. But not everything requires your comment. Not everything is your business. The Stoics used to say, if you don't know the whole story, hold your judgment. Nowadays, many people form opinions based on very little information. A headline, a photo, a quote taken out of context, and then they speak as if they know everything. However, there is immense strength in staying quiet, in observing without interrupting, in understanding that others have the right to live their lives as they see fit, and that you don't need to correct anyone to feel good about yourself. Being silent is not weakness, it's maturity. It's knowing that not every conversation needs your voice. It's allowing others to live their own journey in their own way. When you feel the urge to give your opinion, ask yourself, will this truly help, or am I just trying to show off? Did someone ask for my opinion, or am I forcing my perspective? These simple questions can prevent many arguments and much exhaustion, and the more you practice this silence, the more you realize how powerful it is. You don't need to announce that you're changing, you just need to change. Speak less, listen more, and see how your mind calms down. Because in the end, the opinion that matters most is the one you give yourself when you look in the mirror and feel at peace. Number 7. Stop holding on to grudges in silence. Sometimes you're smiling on the outside, but inside you still feel an old pain. It might have been a betrayal, a harsh word, or a sudden absence that hurt you. Time has passed, but the wound remains, and without realizing it, you relive that pain every day as if it just happened. Holding on to a grudge is like drinking poison and hoping the other person gets sick, but it's you who suffers. You lose sleep, feel weighed down, and close yourself off. And the saddest part, often the person who hurt you doesn't even remember it anymore. They've moved on while you remain stuck in time, suffering alone. The Stoics said, "What brings you down is not what happened, but what you choose to carry with you." Unhealed pain becomes a hidden burden. Over time, it changes how you live. It makes you harder, distrustful, reactive, until joy becomes rare and everything seems overshadowed. Want true peace? Then take a silent action. Let go of that grudge. This doesn't mean forgetting or saying what they did was right. It means you've decided to stop carrying that load. Silent forgiveness is liberating. You don't need to talk to the person or announce anything. Just tell yourself, I release this for me, because that pain takes up space inside you that could be used for love, creativity, and rest. Carrying a grudge is like walking around with a backpack full of stones. You get used to it, but you live in exhaustion. Dropping that backpack is a choice. You can remember what happened without letting it hurt you again. Repeat to yourself, today I choose to take care of myself. Today, I let this weight go. It may be that the other person never apologizes, but you can forgive yourself for holding on to that for so long. And when you let go, you'll realize the world can fit back into your heart. Number 8, stop being afraid of disappointing others. How many times have you said yes when you meant no? Accepted requests, favors, commitments just to avoid upsetting anyone? Tried to please everyone and forgot about yourself? The fear of disappointing others traps you in a life that isn't yours. You start saying what's expected, doing what you don't want, exhausting yourself to maintain an image of being nice and always available. But inside, you're emptying out. You're losing energy, desire, and space for yourself. Seneca once said, "He who lives to please others never lives truly." And this kind of life comes at a high cost. Your body feels it, your mind gets tired, and your heart becomes heavy. The truth is, you didn't come into this world to meet everyone's expectations. It's not your mission to make everyone happy. That's not selfishness, it's self-respect. You can still be kind, but you can also learn to say, not right now. You can be a good person and still set boundaries. And yes, some people will be bothered. They'll think you've changed, and changing means you're starting to respect yourself. Some relationships may drift away, but the ones that are real will remain. Respecting yourself may close some doors, but it also opens up space for peace. So start making these changes gradually and in silence. You don't need to explain yourself every time you say no. Just be firm, calm, and sincere. Those who distance themselves because you chose yourself were never truly with you. The next time you feel guilty for saying no, think, is it worth lying just to avoid disappointing someone? Choose yourself, even if silently. Because those who respect their own choices don't lose, they find themselves. Number 9, stop feeling guilty for being who you are. From childhood, we learn there's a right way to act. Speak softly, smile always, don't be too intense. And when you don't fit that mold, because you feel deeply, think differently, or are more reserved, you start to believe there's something wrong with you. Over time, you try to adapt, hide your feelings, and please others to be accepted. It may work for a while, but inside, you feel that nagging sense of being someone else. Guilt creeps in, for feeling too much, for not being what others expect, for not fitting in. This guilt is treacherous. It makes you silent, hidden, apologizing even for things you didn't do. And the worst part, you start to believe you're wrong, that you need fixing, that if you showed your true self, you'd be rejected. But how long will you carry this weight? You don't need to be perfect or please everyone. You just need to be honest about what you feel, even if it involves flaws, doubts, bad days, and boundaries. The Stoics spoke about living with virtue, which for them meant living with truth. Seneca said, "He who is ashamed of himself does not yet know himself." And that's it. The more you understand yourself, the less you feel guilty for being who you are. You weren't meant to fit into labels. You were meant to be whole, with your strengths and weaknesses all together. Letting go of that guilt is a process. It starts slowly, when you stop judging yourself all the time, when you look at yourself with kindness in the mirror and think, "I'm learning to be more myself." You don't have to announce this to anyone, just live according to how you feel, declining an invitation without guilt, choosing a different path without needing to explain, speaking your mind without apologizing. This brings lightness, truth, and freedom. That's when you stop asking for permission to exist and start truly occupying your place in the world. Number 10. Stop living just for others. Some people spend their lives trying to please everyone, their parents, partners, friends, bosses, and forget about themselves. They learn they have to be good, polite, helpful, but no one teaches that if you abandon yourself in the process, you lose the joy of living. At first, living to please works. You receive compliments and are well regarded, but over time you start to feel tired, drained, suffocated. You say yes when you want to say no, living how others expect instead of how you wish. Have you ever done something just to avoid disappointing someone? Held on to relationships that no longer made sense just to avoid explaining? Followed paths that aren't yours just to meet others' expectations? Many people live this way, and almost no one has the courage to change. Seneca wrote that life is long enough, if well used. But how can you live well a life that doesn't even feel like yours? The first step is realizing that you don't owe explanations to everyone. Your life doesn't have to follow the script they expect. Living to be perfect for everyone is, at its core, leaving your own essence behind. It's not being selfish or isolating yourself. It's learning to respect yourself. It's knowing that changing your mind, altering plans, or choosing a different path doesn't make you ungrateful. It makes you human. You don't need to post a self-improvement declaration or announce you're stepping back. Just start, in your own time, to live more for you. Saying that doesn't serve me without guilt, refusing what doesn't align with you, stopping trying to please as if you were advertising your own life. Those who live to be accepted by everyone lose themselves. Those who have the courage to be true might lose applause, but gain something much more important: inner peace and strength. True life happens away from the spotlight, in the backstage, and it's there, in the silence of your choices, that you begin to find yourself again. Live for you, and if someone is bothered by that, the problem was never you. It was the idea of control they had over you. Number 11. Stop handing your peace to others. Many people think they'll only find peace when others change, when they apologize, when they're more polite, when the boss improves, and then life becomes an endless wait, waiting for something that may never happen. In the meantime, the person gets stuck, frustrated, and feels they have no control over their own life. Stoic thinking shows the opposite. What's in our control is only what we think, feel, and do. Waiting for someone else to improve is like giving the key to your peace to someone who doesn't even know how to take care of their own life. Seneca said, "Live according to who you are, not trying to fix others." That's being responsible for yourself. Want better interactions? Start being clear and respectful. Want less weight in your day-to-day? Create your own boundaries. Want more genuine conversations? Speak with sincerity, but with calmness. It's easy to point fingers and say the problem lies with others. It's hard to look within and see what you can do differently. Sometimes that doesn't mean changing the other person, but changing how you react and position yourself. You might need to step back or you might stay, but with a different approach. Consider this. How many situations are stalled because you're waiting for someone else to understand, change, or recognize something? And if that never happens, how long will you delay your peace? Letting go of that expectation is a quiet decision. You don't need to tell anyone. Just change what's within your reach and release what's not. True peace comes when you stop trying to control others and start taking care of yourself. Stop counting on miracles from the outside. Be the start of the change you want. Your new posture will alter what's around you. Number 12. Speak less about your plans. We have a habit of sharing what we're going to do. I'm going to start working out. I'm writing a book. I'm going to open a business. Talking about it gives a sense that something is already happening. But just talking isn't the same as doing. The more you talk, the more you wear yourself out. People come in with opinions, criticisms, and comparisons. Sometimes, even unintentionally, there's envy or discouragement from others. All of this can make you lose motivation before you even start. Many good ideas die because they were exposed too soon. When you tell someone who isn't in the same emotional space, they may not understand and end up demotivating you. The Stoics always emphasized maintaining focus and discipline, and that starts in silence. It's not about hiding out of fear. It's about protecting. Not everything needs to be said. Not every plan needs to become conversation. What's brewing inside you deserves care. Epictetus said we should act as if we're in training, without getting distracted by what others think. Have you ever seen an athlete announce each training session? A warrior revealing their strategy before a fight? What's real doesn't need the spotlight. It needs action. Keeping your plans private isn't about shutting yourself off from the world. It's about knowing who deserves to hear them, who understands your moment. It's about recognizing that what holds value shows in the results, not in the talk. It's in silence that the seed takes root. It's in daily practice that dreams become reality. Look back. How many plans have you shared without following through? How many times did you lose momentum after hearing an ill-timed comment? This isn't a lack of ability, it's too much exposure. Stopping the excessive talk and starting to act is a sign of maturity. When you conserve your energy for doing instead of telling, everything changes. You gain focus and strength, and you don't need to prove anything to anyone. The results will speak for themselves. If something new is growing within you, nurture it with care, work quietly, and let the world see the results when the time is right. Not because you announced it, but because you accomplished it. Number 13, stop holding on to feelings that aren't yours. From a young age, many of us learned to avoid conflict. We began to measure every word, gesture, and choice for fear of upsetting someone. At first, it seems like care, but it quickly becomes a burden. You say yes when you mean no, hold on to grudges to avoid making others upset, and feel guilty for what someone else feels. Over time, you can't differentiate between what is yours and what belongs to others. Now think, how long will you live depending on other people's moods? The idea that you are responsible for how others feel is heavy and unfair. Of course, being polite and sincere matters, but that doesn't mean you have to carry the emotional weight of others. Each person deals with the world in their own way, with their own stories, traumas, and thoughts, and that is beyond your control. Stoic philosophers often reminded us that what we truly control is our own actions. We can't dictate how people react. As Seneca said, true freedom is not depending on others' approval or being tethered to their feelings. Learning to assert yourself without guilt is part of this. Having tough conversations, making decisions that might upset someone. This is all part of life. You're not responsible for keeping everyone comfortable all the time. That's not caring. It's self-neglect. Perhaps you grew up thinking that to love is to give endlessly, but giving without limits leads to losing yourself. When you learn to set boundaries, you realize you can support someone without absorbing all their emotions. At first, this might feel cold, but over time, you'll recognize it as self-care. So, return what isn't yours. Let each person manage their own emotions and take care of yours with determination. True peace only comes when there's balance, no excess weight, no lack. Number 14, reduce the amount of bad stuff you put in your head. You wake up, look at your phone, and it starts. Sad news, arguments, tragedies, gossip, violence, controversies. Within minutes, your mind is cluttered with heavy content. It feels like you're just staying informed, but in reality, you're feeding your mind with the worst of the world. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about knowing the difference between being aware of what's happening and drowning in it. Much of what we consume is unhelpful. It only leaves us more anxious, fearful, and hopeless. Over time, this changes how you view life. You begin to expect the worst from everything and everyone. The Stoics talked about monitoring your mind. Epictetus said that what you allow into your thoughts eventually becomes part of who you are. This applies not just to food, but to what you read, watch, and listen to. The world already has enough problems. You don't need to carry them all. Notice how many times a day you see or hear negative things, not just in the news, but in conversations, on social media, and in hurtful jokes. It may seem trivial, but it weighs you down. Reducing this excess isn't about becoming ignorant. It's about making better choices. It's about being mindful of what you allow into your head, just as you choose what you eat. You can stay informed, but do so with limits. You can engage in conversation without getting caught up in complaint cycles. You can use social media, but with caution. It's your responsibility to protect your peace. Start slowly. Stop following pages that spread hate. Cut down on time spent on sites that only discuss tragedies, and avoid heavy content before bed. Protect your eyes, your ears, your mind. When you reduce this noise, you begin to see life with more lightness. You wake up with more energy, see more solutions, and regain faith in yourself and others. So, if you seek peace, it's not just about staying quiet. It's about silencing the noise around you, not from fear, but from wisdom. Those who care for their thoughts care for their souls, and that's how a better world begins. Number 15, stop living stuck in the past. You're here now, but is your mind too? Or is it stuck back in that old mistake, in that unresolved conversation, in that love that ended, or in that missed opportunity? Living in the past becomes a burden that prevents you from moving forward lightly. Reflecting to draw lessons is useful, but continually revisiting those painful memories as if you could change anything is just suffering for no reason. This makes you view today with suspicion, close yourself off, and lose the courage to try again. What's in the past serves as a foundation, not a prison. Ancient philosophers, like the Stoics, always spoke about this. The only thing we can change is the present. The past is gone, and we cannot touch it anymore. Staying stuck in the past means missing out on what you have in your hands today. Maybe you still feel guilt, longing, or regret. That's okay. But there comes a time when those memories become chains, and then it's your choice. Will you keep reliving them, or will you quietly start to rebuild? It's not about erasing everything, but about stopping the suffering every time you remember. It's about looking back with respect while continuing to move forward. When that painful memory resurfaces, say, "I've been through that. Now it's time for something else." The present holds everything for you to write a new story. You just need to be fully here. If you want peace, let go of the past with both hands. Stop clinging to scenes that only hold you back. Time knows how to heal, but only if you allow it. Number 16, stop the habit of constant complaining. Have you ever stopped to count how many times you complain in a day? About traffic, the weather, your boss, your partner, politics, a slow phone, life, sometimes out loud, sometimes just in your head. But the habit is there, running on autopilot. Complaining endlessly changes how you perceive the world. You start to notice only the flaws, only what's wrong. Even when the day is going well, your mind is searching for problems. And the more you complain, the more you become an expert at seeing the negative side of everything. The Stoics said that what affects us isn't the facts, but how we look at them. Complaining solves nothing. Talking about the same problem without taking action just keeps you stuck in the same place, trapped in negative energy. Perhaps you grew up surrounded by people who always complained. You might not even realize you're doing this anymore, but it is possible to change. You can recognize what's wrong and, instead of complaining, take action. You can swap complaints for proactive behavior and grievances for focus. I'm not saying to pretend everything is fine or to accept what's unjust, but you can choose a different way to react. You can transform complaints into silence, action, or calmness. You can pause, breathe, and think, does what I'm saying help me? Or is it just making things worse? Start small. Instead of complaining about traffic, listen to something uplifting. If it rains, find shelter and move on. If someone irritates you, see if you can talk it out or if it's better to step away. Complaining about life doesn't improve anything. Caring for your life does. Every time you feel the urge to complain, take 2 seconds and ask yourself, does this solve anything, or am I just spinning my wheels? This simple question can change everything. Number 17, stop putting yourself last. It's time to change your mindset. When you alter how you view things, life doesn't become perfect, but it becomes lighter. The secret isn't to fix the world, it's to learn to navigate it differently. To do this, you first need to stop hurting yourself with small, automatic thoughts that only drain you further. Life already has its challenges. You don't need to sabotage yourself. You're always helping, being present, solving other people's problems, listening, chasing after things, doing it all. But what about you? Who takes care of you? Who pays attention to how you feel? You've been putting yourself last for too long. You keep pushing your dreams, desires, and exhaustion to the back burner. Worse still, you've learned to call this strength. But true strength isn't about neglecting yourself. It doesn't mean bearing everything in silence. That's called endurance. And when it becomes the norm, it leads to exhaustion. How many times have you sidelined your own needs just to please others? And if you're honest, how many of those people would do the same for you? This doesn't mean becoming selfish. It simply means you deserve care too. Because if you crumble inside, no one wins. The Stoics understood this. Epictetus said, "Take care of yourself as you would a child." Because those who don't respect themselves end up living solely to serve others and forget to truly live. Putting yourself last might seem noble, but it slowly drains you. You go through the motions automatically, without enthusiasm, and in the end, you feel exhausted and alone, with no one noticing. Only you feel that weight. Only you know something is off inside. Changing this isn't about becoming the center of the universe. It's about remembering that you are also a part of it. It's understanding that you deserve the same care you provide to others. It's knowing that your feelings, rest, and plans matter too. You can still help others, but with boundaries. You can care for others without disappearing. And this starts with simple things. Learning to say no without guilt, setting aside time just for yourself, going to bed earlier, silencing your phone, doing what makes you happy even if not everyone understands. And most importantly, do this quietly, without explanation, without justification, without asking for permission. Just change. Those who truly care will understand. Those who are taken aback may never have seen you for who you really are. In the end, this might be the most important change. Stop abandoning yourself. Self-love isn't in what you post, but in the choices you make every day when you finally decide to put yourself on your own list of priorities. If this message resonates with you, congratulations on making it this far. This shows that you're striving to become a better person. If you'd like to leave a comment, type gratitude so I know you made it to the end. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, take this moment to do so. Stoicism has much to teach about real life, and I want to continue this journey with you. There are 2 recommended videos here to keep learning. Let's go on this journey together. Until next time.